What beautiful voices those kids have. So talented, a woman commented as she stood near the edge of the sidewalk, watching two young black boys perform on a busy Atlanta street corner. Their harmony was effortless, their confidence unmistakable, even though their clothes were worn and their shoes barely held together. "Hey, young kings," called another voice. Malik and Josiah turned toward the sound and saw a sharply dressed man standing nearby, holding a check in one hand. "Thank you, sir, but what's this for?" Malik asked, blinking in confusion. The man stepped closer, extending the check. "Give this to your mom. She'll know what to do with it." That man was Langston Duke, a name many knew but few had ever met. A powerful businessman. Langston's family owned a vast network of medical clinics and real estate ventures across the country. But in this moment, on this corner in the heart of the city, he wasn't a tycoon. He was just a man moved by the courage and raw talent of two young boys. "Thank you so much, sir," both boys said at once, bowing their heads in deep gratitude. As they turned and walked away, Langston stood still, watching them disappear into the crowd. Something clutched at his chest. Why can't I stop thinking about them? He wondered. Why do I feel like following them? What is it about them that pulls me in this deeply? He checked his watch and sighed. His town car had broken down earlier, forcing him to ride public transit for the first time in years. Now he was running late for a meeting with major investors. But still, he didn't move. "Big bro, do you think the money we collected is enough?" Josiah asked softly, glancing up at his older brother. "It'll be just enough for Mama's medicine today," Malik replied, mentally counting their earnings. "We'll figure out tomorrow when it comes." "But what about food, Malik?" Josiah asked, his voice trembling slightly. "Mama won't eat, and we're hungry too." "We'll be okay with just bread for now, Josiah. Is that all right?" Josiah nodded slowly. "It's okay. Maybe next time we can eat something delicious." Just a few feet away, Langston sat on a bench near a newspaper stand, listening quietly. Their words hit him like a punch to the chest. His hand moved to his phone without thinking. "Hello, Ms. Donna?" he said when his assistant answered. "Yes, Mr. Duke. The investors are waiting. Where are you?" Langston stared after the boys as they disappeared around the corner. "Cancel the meeting." "But sir, they're all already seated and—" He hung up. Without another second's hesitation, Langston stepped down from the bus stop bench and followed the direction the boys had gone. His polished shoes hit the cracked pavement of the inner city streets as he walked faster, more determined now. "Kids, are you headed home?" he called out as he spotted them a block away. They turned, eyes wide in recognition. "Oh, it's you, sir," they said in unison, breaking into weary but genuine smiles. Though they looked tired and worn from the long day, their manners remained impeccable, just like their mother had taught them. No matter how tough life got, they were to be respectful. "Proud and full of grace, not yet, sir," Malik answered quietly. "We don't have enough for Mama's medicine." Langston glanced down at the folded bills in their hands. "Why isn't it enough?" he asked gently. "We want to buy all her medicine at once, so it's ready for whenever she needs it," Malik explained. "Mama overworks herself trying to raise us. She used to do laundry, work nights in diners, anything she could just so we'd survive." He paused and took a breath. "I admire people like her, sir. People who work 3 jobs, scrub dishes, do laundry, mop floors just to take care of their family. One day when I make it, I want to help people like that. Because their work, it's real." Langston's eyes softened at the boy's words. Malik wasn't his child, not even a relative. But in that moment he felt a wave of pride rise in his chest. In a world this harsh, Langston thought, "I'm grateful to see a child who still has hope." "Show me the way to your house," Langston said suddenly. "Let me handle the rest." Both boys blinked at him, stunned. "What?" they asked together. "Medicine, food, whatever you need, I'll take care of it," he assured them. He gave a small nod toward the check he'd handed them earlier. "That check? It's just the beginning. Trust me." And with that, The three of them began walking side by side, down the cracked alley toward a destiny none of them had seen coming. They turned a corner off the main road, passing a chain-link fence and a row of rusted, abandoned cars. Malik pointed ahead. "That's our place, sir. Right there." Langston looked up and felt his breath catch. A narrow wooden house stood at the edge of a gravel lot. The walls were patched with plastic sheets and weather-beaten plywood. A tin roof sagged slightly in the middle. In some places, bricks had been stacked to hold up crumbling corners. No words came out of his mouth. "Please come in," Malik offered, pulling open the thin wooden door with both hands. Langston hesitated for only a second, then stepped inside. But before he did, he made a quick call. "Donna," he said when his assistant answered. "I need groceries delivered, right away. Fresh fruits, vegetables, rice, meat, bread, bottled water, everything. Here's the address." Just as he ended the call, he heard the boys shout behind him, "Mama!" Langston rushed in. The dim light inside revealed a small room with cracked walls and a thin, tattered curtain separating the kitchen. In the middle of the concrete floor lay a woman, unconscious, her face pale. "Mama, wake up!" Josiah cried, dropping to his knees. "What happened?" Langston asked, already moving. Without hesitation, he bent down and carefully lifted the woman into his arms. He placed her gently onto a bamboo cot in the corner, worn but neatly covered in a faded sheet. Her limbs were trembling. She barely opened her eyes. "Mama, why were you in the kitchen?" Malik whispered, his eyes welling up. "We were just getting your medicine." Emma stirred. Her voice was hoarse. I just wanted to make you something to eat," she whispered. "You boys work so hard. I thought I could cook a little rice before you got back." "But Mama," Malik pleaded, "you knew you weren't feeling well. You should have stayed in bed." She tried to sit up, but Langston gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "You need to lie down," he said firmly. "Your body's too weak. Don't push yourself." Emma looked at him, confused and overwhelmed. "You're the one. You gave them the money?" "Yes, ma'am," Langston replied. "And I'm here to help however I can." But sir, I should show respect. You're helping us, and I—" "No," Langston interrupted, his voice calm but steady. "No need for formalities. I'm not helping you for that. You don't owe me anything." Emma blinked, unsure how to respond. "Sir, I'm married. I have a husband." Langston nodded gently. "I understand. May I ask where he is?" For a moment the room went silent. "He's gone," Malik answered softly. "He passed away years ago. Mama's been raising us on her own ever since." Langston looked at Malik, then at Josiah, then back to Emma. "Who says she's alone?" he said, his voice warm. "She's got two brave boys helping her every day. That's what family is, being there for one another no matter what." Emma turned away, trying to keep her tears from falling. But the weight of it all, the pain, the struggle, the unexpected kindness, was too much. "My boys," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "They're the reason I haven't given up. Even when the world turned cold, they kept me going." She reached out and cupped both boys' cheeks, her fingers trembling but tender. "I love you both more than anything. Every time you walk out that door, I worry. That's why, even sick, I try to cook, to clean, to do something. Anything." Her voice broke. "I used to be able to handle everything, but now it's like my body just can't do it anymore." Langston sat quietly, letting her speak. "You need rest," he said finally. "Your body isn't a machine, it deserves to heal." Emma chuckled bitterly. "That's easy for rich folks to say. But for us, rest is a luxury we can't afford. Every second matters." "I know," Langston replied, "but your sons need you. And if something happened to you, what would they do?" Emma looked down, tears falling again. "I only got up because I knew they were hungry," she murmured. "They've been doing everything for me, and all I can do is lay here." She gave a tired smile. "Even if it's just rice, I wanted them to have something hot to eat." Langston's throat tightened. This was real. This was struggle, survival, and love, woven together. "What's your name?" he asked suddenly. Emma blinked. "I'm sorry. I didn't even introduce myself. I'm Emma. And these are my sons, Malik and Josiah." Langston smiled. "Nice to meet you, Miss Emma, and you too, young kings." Just then a knock came at the door. Langston's assistant stood outside with a team of staff and bags of groceries. "Sir, we're here," she said. Langston turned to Malik. "Help your mom change her clothes. They're damp, and we don't want her to get sicker. I'll handle the rest." He stepped out to meet his staff near the street. But the moment he reached them, he noticed one of his younger employees whispering to another. "Sir, whose house is this?" the man asked. "Looks like it belongs to—" "Don't finish that sentence," Langston warned sharply. "If I hear anyone disrespect this family, you're gone. Understand?" "Yes, sir," they all said quickly. Groceries in hand, they followed him back inside. Inside the small home, the boys were busy helping their mother change into dry clothes. Malik gently held her up while Josiah fetched a clean shirt from the worn-out shelf. When Langston and his team entered, with groceries, bags upon bags of rice, canned goods, fruit, water, vegetables, and fresh chicken, the boys' eyes widened. "Who are they, sir?" Malik asked, glancing at the group of sharply dressed people now standing in their tiny living space. "And why do they have all this stuff?" Langston smiled. "Like I told you earlier, I'm taking care of everything. These are my employees. They're just here to help out. Is it okay if they come inside?" Malik nodded quickly. "Of course, sir. I'm just sorry. The house is really small, and it's falling apart in places. We haven't had the money to fix it. But I promise one day I'll work hard and make it better. I will." The employees exchanged looks. This boy's maturity and resolve tugged at something deep inside them. "You'll get there, kid. I believe in you," one of them said, causing both Langston and Malik to smile. They stepped in carefully, mindful of the fragile floorboards and low ceiling. Josiah took a bag and helped organize items in their tiny kitchen. Langston crouched beside the boys. "So, what would y'all like for lunch?" "Fried chicken," Josiah blurted out excitedly. "And adobo. We haven't had fried chicken in forever, not since our dad passed." Malik added softly, "It's our favorite. We used to eat it when things weren't so hard." Langston nodded. "Fried chicken it is." He turned to his staff. "You can leave now. I'll handle the rest." "Boss, are you really going to cook? Like personally?" one of them asked, baffled. Langston looked back with a raised eyebrow. "Yes, and I don't need an audience. I've got this." Still in disbelief, the team left. Langston rolled up his sleeves, stepped into the tiny kitchen, and began prepping ingredients. The boys watched, eyes shining with curiosity and joy. "Sir Langston, are you really cooking for us?" Malik asked. "Of course." "Why not?" he replied, pulling out a skillet. Malik grinned. It felt like his heart might burst. "Why are you doing this for us, sir?" he asked honestly. Langston paused, hands on the counter. He looked at the boy. "I'm not even sure myself," he admitted. "Maybe because you deserve it. Because I know what it's like to feel alone. Maybe I was meant to meet you two. All I know is I want to help." Malik nodded slowly. "Most people ignore us, but you're not just helping, you're protecting us, you're giving us hope. Thank you, sir." Langston smiled warmly. "Don't mention it. I'm not like most people." Josiah stepped up shyly. "Can we help you cook, sir?" Langston's face lit up. "Of course, let's do this together." And just like that, they became a team in the kitchen, cracking eggs, stirring sauces, seasoning chicken. None of them noticed the quiet figure watching. From behind the curtain, Emma stood at the doorway, her weak body leaning on the wooden frame. Her heart swelled at the sight. "Mom?" Josiah whispered when he noticed her. "You think he's real? That he really cares?" Emma didn't answer right away. Her eyes stayed fixed on Langston as he laughed with the boys. Then, in a soft, thoughtful voice, she said, "I don't know, baby. Only time will tell. But what I do know is, he's helping us now. That's what matters. Some people don't help because they're asked to. They help because they truly see our need." She placed a trembling hand over her chest. "And when I'm stronger," she added, "we'll find a way to repay him for every bit of it." Minutes later, Malik called them to the table. "Mama, Josiah, come on. We got a real meal today. Can't let it get cold." "Wow. Fried chicken and adobo," Josiah exclaimed as he climbed into his chair. "Thank you, sir." "You're welcome. Sit down. Let's pray and eat," Langston said, kindness radiating from his voice. He moved to help Emma sit down. She hesitated, shy and slightly embarrassed. "It's okay," she said, trying to rise on her own. "I insist," he replied gently. "You're still recovering." Emma allowed him to guide her to the chair. Even though he was still practically a stranger, his presence felt warm, familiar, safe. "Mama, this is the best fried chicken ever," Josiah declared with joy. Emma smiled, her eyes shining. "Yes, baby, it really is. Eat up, sweetheart," she added. "I'm sorry I couldn't give y'all meals like this before. I was trying my best." "It's okay, Mama," Malik said, reaching for her hand. "We're just glad we're together. And thanks to Sir Langston, we get to eat like this now." "What do we say to Sir Langston?" Josiah chimed in. "Thank you so much, Sir Langston," both boys shouted. Langston laughed heartily. "How many times am I going to hear that today? I told y'all, you don't have to thank me. I'm just happy to be here." As laughter and conversation filled the room, Emma sat quietly, her hand over her mouth, hiding a smile, hiding the tears that welled behind her eyes. For the first time in a long time, joy filled their home. And seated across from her, a man who had once just passed by their street corner was now sitting at their table sharing their meal and slowly becoming part of their lives. The afternoon sun dipped lower, casting golden streaks through the small wooden slats of the house. Emma sat back in her chair, watching as Langston, Malik and Josiah laughed over second servings of fried chicken. The table, once used to hold nothing more than a pot of plain rice, now overflowed with warmth, food, and light. Her heart was full, but her mind was restless. As the boys ran to the sink to wash the plates, Emma turned to Langston, her voice low. "Sir Langston, may I speak with you for a moment? Just the two of us." Surprised, Langston nodded. "Of course." He followed her outside, where they sat on a small bamboo bench just beneath the roof's edge. The air was thick with the smell of evening, damp concrete, and fresh-cooked food. Emma didn't speak at first, her fingers twisted together in her lap. "How are you feeling?" Langston asked gently. "Any pain left?" She looked at him, serious now. "Why are you doing all this for us?" He blinked. "Why do you ask that all of a sudden?" "Because I need to know," she replied, her voice steadier than she felt. "You were serious when you helped us, when you showed up, when you made my sons laugh again, and now I'm serious too. I want to understand. Why us? Why my boys? Why me?" Langston leaned back slightly, resting his elbows on his knees. He stared ahead at the rust-colored horizon. "I told you. I saw your son singing, desperate, brave, trying to get money for your medicine. That moved me," he said quietly. "I knew then that you needed help, and I just wanted to be there." Emma looked down. "But you don't have to keep coming back. You're not their father. You don't owe us anything. We're just some family from the other side of town you happen to notice." Langston's gaze sharpened. "You're right," he said. "I'm not obligated, but I choose to be here. That's why I come." Emma pressed her lips together, unsure of what to say. "They're getting attached, Langston," she admitted. "Every day they wait for you. Every time a car passes by, they look up, hoping it's you. They laugh again. They talk more. And I'm afraid of what'll happen if one day you don't come back. They'll be heartbroken." Her voice cracked, but she kept going. I know what this is. You're helping because we're in need. And when that need is gone, so will you be. Langston sat up and looked at her, his voice low but firm. Why? Do you assume that I'll leave and never come back? Emma's chest tightened. Because men always leave. When it gets hard. When the reality sets in. When they see the weight of raising children who aren't theirs. They leave. Langston leaned closer, his voice full of quiet conviction. Then let me make one thing clear, Emma. I don't fully understand what I'm feeling yet. I won't lie to you, but what I do know is I won't abandon you, I won't walk away. He took a slow breath. I don't know if I just want to be close to you, or if it's more than that. But I promise you this. I'm not here out of pity. And I'm not going anywhere. Just then, Malik peeked out the door. Mama, Sir Langston, are you done talking? Emma wiped her eyes quickly and waved him over. Come here, baby. Malik trotted over and sat beside her. What were y'all talking about? Just grown-up stuff, she smiled softly. Where's your little brother? He's in the room trying on those new clothes Sir Langston gave us, Malik said with a grin. He really loves them, Langston chuckled. I had a feeling he would. Thanks again, Sir Langston, Malik said seriously. You're really kind. I've said thank you 100 times, but I still mean it. Langston turned to Emma and smiled. I'll be back tomorrow. Just wait. And he was. Every single day. Day by day, the visits continued. Langston arrived with groceries, new clothes, medicine, and a heart full of warmth. The boys began greeting him from the gate, racing to hug him the moment they saw his car approach. Sir Langston, they'd call out with joy, their laughter echoing through the alleyways. Emma noticed it too, the rhythm, the joy, the familiarity growing stronger with each visit. And though she smiled outwardly, a small knot of worry grew inside her. They were getting used to him. Maybe she was too. Each time he arrived, he brought more than food. He brought peace, presence, and a kind of comfort that she hadn't felt since her husband passed. And that scared her. The sky was overcast the next day, a soft drizzle falling on the rooftops. Inside the small home, Josiah sat near the window staring out. Langston hadn't come yet. Maybe he's busy, Emma said gently, folding a shirt and setting it aside. He has a company to run, remember? Malik didn't say anything. He was sitting cross-legged near the door, sketching on a worn piece of paper. But his eyes drifted to the road every few minutes. Emma glanced at them both, sighing quietly. Are they waiting? She wondered. Am I waiting too? Later that evening, Emma looked out at the street as the drizzle turned to mist. She didn't notice Josiah approaching until he spoke. Mama, you been watching the road all day? She blinked, startled. What? I see you looking out the window every time someone walks by. Emma paused. She hadn't realized she'd been doing it. She knelt beside him and pulled him into a hug. I guess I'm just hoping, she said quietly. Josiah didn't reply. He leaned into her arms and the room grew silent again. But by the next day, Langston still hadn't come. That night, Josiah broke down. Mama, he sobbed in the corner of the room, curled into himself. When is Sir Langston coming back? I miss him. I want to see him again. Emma rushed over and held him close. It's okay, baby, I'm here. Are we going to be okay without him? Josiah wept. What if we don't make it? What if we're back to starving again? Emma's heart cracked in her chest. The grief in her son's voice, so raw, so terrified, hit her like a wave. Sandro, 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 she muttered under her breath, unable to hide the ache in her own chest. Then, almost without realizing it, she raised her voice. Of course we'll survive without him. We don't need him to live. Josiah cried harder. Realizing her mistake, Emma immediately softened her tone and hugged him even tighter. I'm sorry, baby. Mommy didn't mean to yell. I'm not mad at you. I'm sorry. I miss him too. Her voice trembled. So much. Across the ocean, In a gleaming corporate tower in Dubai, Langston was seated in a meeting. His phone buzzed for the third time in his pocket. He ignored it again. The trip had come up suddenly. Investors to meet, contracts to finalize, and responsibilities. He couldn't delegate, but all week his thoughts hadn't been in the boardroom. They'd been in a small wooden house back in Georgia. I miss the kids. I miss Emma. When his plane landed on American soil days later, Langston didn't go home. He didn't call his father. He didn't even go to his office. He headed straight to the alley on the south side. As he pulled up in a black SUV, he heard screaming, "Mom! Mama!" His heart dropped. He jumped out of the car and sprinted down the alley. There, near the outdoor water pump, he saw them, Malik and Josiah crying and trying to lift Emma, who had collapsed mid-wash. "What happened?" Langston shouted, kneeling beside them. "She was doing laundry and she just fell," Malik cried. "She won't wake up, sir. What if she dies?" Josiah wailed. "She's not going to die," Langston said firmly, scooping Emma into his arms. "I promise." He carried her to the SUV, Malik and Josiah scrambling in behind him. Tires screeched as the vehicle sped through the streets toward the nearest hospital, one that happened to bear the Duke family name. Langston stormed through the emergency entrance, shouting, "Get me a doctor now!" A nurse recognized him instantly. "Mr. Duke, what happened?" "She fainted. She's weak. She's not eating properly. Get her help. Now." The ER team rushed her to the back while Langston paced like a lion. Minutes passed. Then a doctor appeared. "Mr. Duke," she said. "She's severely fatigued, malnourished, dehydrated. But her vitals are stable. She's going to be okay." Langston exhaled deeply, as if he hadn't been breathing the entire time. Her system's run down from overwork and lack of nutrition. What she needs most is rest, good food, and some vitamins. Langston nodded, swallowing hard. "Has she been working?" the doctor asked. Langston nodded slowly. "She's been doing laundry again, trying to feed her kids." The doctor's brow furrowed. "And what's your relation to her?" Langston looked her dead in the eye. She's important to me. She's not my family by blood, but she means the world to me." The doctor nodded slowly. "Then make sure she rests. No chores, no stress, just rest." "I'll make sure," Langston said. He arranged for Emma to be moved into a private room immediately. Once she was settled, he turned to the boys. "Stay by your mom's side. I'll be right back." They nodded silently. Langston left the room and returned an hour later with armfuls of food, vitamins, fresh fruit, and even clothes. He placed everything carefully on the table, then pulled a chair up beside Emma's bed. She stirred. Her eyelids fluttered open, and even before she could see clearly, her lips whispered a name. "Sandro. Sandro." Emma whispered again, her voice barely audible. Langston turned to face her, eyes soft with worry. He had just finished arranging the food and supplies on the hospital table. Seeing her awake made the tightness in his chest ease. "Just a little. I'm here," he said gently, moving to her side. "You're okay now." Emma blinked a few times, as if making sure this wasn't a dream. "What are you doing here?" she asked faintly. "Aren't you supposed to be working?" Langston smiled. "You're upset with me." "You left without saying anything," she replied, eyes avoiding his. "I know," he said. "And I'm sorry. I had to go out of the country for a few days. But I should have told you. I should have at least said goodbye." Emma's voice was quiet. "You're not obligated to visit us, sir. You don't owe us anything. You don't have to apologize." Langston leaned closer. "Maybe not. But I care about you, Emma. About your boys. That makes you my responsibility." Emma looked at him then, confusion in her tired gaze. "Why would we be your responsibility?" Langston stood and brought the tray of food over. It was enough for all three of them. Steamed vegetables, warm chicken soup, slices of fruit, fresh bread. "Because the doctor said you're not eating." "Enough. So now, I'm going to make sure you do. No excuses. Emma's eyes widened slightly as she looked at the generous meal. It felt like too much. Not just the food, but the gesture. You need strength, Langston said. And I'm not leaving until you eat every bite. She looked away for a moment, blinking back sudden emotion. It wasn't the meal. It was the care. It was the way he made her feel like she mattered again. Sandro, she said, her voice shaking slightly. Tell me the truth. Why are you really doing all this for me? For us? What do you want from me? Langston didn't move. He looked straight into her eyes. I told you before, but I'll say it again. He began, his voice steady. I'm doing this because you're special to me. From the moment I met you and the boys, something changed in me. He took a deep breath, voice growing more heartfelt. My world used to feel empty, cold. I had money, success, power, but none of it made me feel alive. And then I heard your boys singing, and I met you, and suddenly I felt something again. Purpose, joy. He stepped closer. Please don't push me away, don't shut me out, I don't think I could handle that. Emma's eyes filled with tears. She looked down, hands trembling in her lap. Okay, she whispered. Let's say we are important to you. Maybe it's just because we're one of the families you helped. No, Langston said firmly, cutting her off. It's not like that. Then what is it? She asked, her voice rising slightly. If this isn't just about helping, then explain it. Because I'm scared. I've been alone for so long, and I can't tell if this is real or temporary. Langston didn't hesitate. Because I love you, Emma. Her breath caught. I love you more than anything, he continued. That's why I'm doing all this. Because I want to be with you. I want to make you mine. I want to love you and your sons, not just today, but every day. I want to be your family. Emma let out a soft, disbelieving laugh. Not mocking, just overwhelmed. You love me? A widow with kids? How is that even possible? Langston didn't flinch. I'll marry you, he said, so we can be a real family. I'll be a father to your boys. I already love them. Why wouldn't I want to give them everything I have? She looked away, stunned and speechless. I'll earn your trust, he said gently. I'll prove myself. I'll win your heart, even if it takes time. I'm not here to play games, I'm here to stay. Just then, Malik and Josiah peeked into the room. Sir Langston, Josiah said shyly, are you done talking to Mama? Emma wiped her face quickly and called them. Come in, babies. They rushed to her side. Langston crouched beside them and smiled. Hey, boys, I was just asking your mom something important. Josiah tilted his head. Are you going to marry Mama? Langston blinked, then smiled. Only if she says yes. And only if you two approve. Josiah looked at Malik, eyes wide. What do you think? Malik grinned. As long as you love our mom with everything you've got, then I'm okay with it. Josiah jumped up. Then I say yes. Langston laughed and turned back to Emma. Your sons have approved. Now it's your turn. Emma looked away, cheeks flushing. Do what you want, she muttered under her breath. Langston froze. Then slowly, a grin spread across his face. He whispered under his breath, Yes! He turned back to the boys with a fist pump. She didn't say no. They all laughed together, Emma too, though she tried to hide it behind her hand. Langston leaned closer. Emma, just watch. I'm going to give you everything, just wait. Langston kept his promise. From that day on, he became even more devoted. If he had been caring before, now he was relentless in his love and presence. He didn't just visit, he became part of their lives. He learned how Emma liked her tea. He remembered which cartoons Josiah adored and which books Malik read to, his brother every night, and he made sure their table was never empty again. One afternoon, as Langston walked into the hospital lobby with a fresh bouquet and a bag of home-cooked food, A doctor called out to him. "Mr. Duke," she said, pulling him aside gently. Langston's heart skipped. "Yes?" The doctor smiled. "Good news. Ms. Emma is strong enough to be formally discharged. Her vitals are stable, and her strength is returning." Langston let out a deep breath, his shoulders relaxing. Thank God. Later that evening, as Emma was being wheeled out of the hospital in a simple coat Langston had brought her, he walked beside her. Malik and Josiah followed closely, each carrying a small bag of her things. They reached the SUV Langston had waiting, and the boys climbed in with joy. Emma was just about to get in when a deep voice called from behind them. "Langston Duke, what do you think you're doing?" Langston froze. He turned slowly. Standing by the hospital entrance, dressed in a tailored navy suit and radiating authority, was his father, Mr. Lionel Duke. "The rumors are true, then?" Lionel barked. "She's the one you've been sneaking off to see? The woman with the kids? This is why you've been missing meetings, turning down deals?" Emma froze at the sound of his voice. Langston walked forward calmly. "Her name is Emma. And yes, she's the one. I love her." Lionel's face twisted with outrage. "Of all the women in the world, Langston, you choose a widow with children? A woman with nothing?" Langston's jaw clenched. "She has everything that matters. Heart, strength, courage, and yes, children. Beautiful, kind, strong boys." "You're throwing away your legacy," Lionel snapped. "For this?" Langston stepped closer, eyes blazing. "Don't speak about her like that. I don't care if you're my father, I won't let you insult the woman I love." "She's not right for you," Lionel spat. "And if you walk away now, don't expect a single dime from the Duke estate. Your inheritance will be gone." Langston didn't even blink. "Keep it." He turned and walked away without another word. Later that night, outside the little wooden house, Emma and Langston sat side by side on the old bamboo bench. The moonlight painted their faces silver. "I'm sorry you had to hear that," Langston said softly, staring up at the sky. Emma didn't respond right away. She was quiet, her hands folded in her lap. "Do you think he meant it?" she finally asked. "Will he really disown you? Take away your inheritance?" Langston turned to her. "Is that what's bothering you?" She nodded. "I don't want to be the reason you lose everything you worked for, Sandro. I don't want you to suffer because of me and the boys." He reached for her hand, warm and firm. "You're not the reason. You're the reward. If I lose everything for being with you, I won't regret a single second." Emma's voice was barely above a whisper. "But your future—" "I'll build another one," he said with a smile. "I've done it once, I'll do it again. I'm still a CEO, even if I'm starting over." She chuckled despite herself. "You're talking about marriage again. I haven't even agreed to let you court me properly." Langston pouted in playful protest. "Come on, I already asked your late husband for permission." Emma looked at him sideways. "What?" Langston sat upright, glancing at the stars. "Just now. I looked up at the sky and said, 'Brother, I'm officially asking permission to love your wife. I promise I'll take care of her even more than you did.'" Emma's eyes filled with unexpected tears. She covered her mouth, a mix of shock and laughter. "You're something else," she whispered. "I'm yours," Langston replied. From that moment, Emma allowed herself to feel again, to trust, to believe. She let Langston into her heart, bit by bit, and soon she could no longer deny what she felt. One morning, as Langston returned from a meeting and stepped into the house with bags of food in his arms, Emma met him at the door. "Sandro," she said. He looked up. "Yes?" She looked him in the eyes and said clearly, "Yes." "Yes?" he asked, confused. "Yes, I'm saying yes." She smiled. "We're a couple now. I'm letting you into my life, into my children's lives." For a moment, Langston was stunned. Then he exploded with joy. "Yes!" he shouted, almost dropping the groceries. You don't know how long I've been waiting to hear that." Everything had fallen into place. The new business he had started independently, the new land he bought, the new home he had secretly built, and now his Emma. Just a few weeks after Emma said yes, Langston began planning something he had been dreaming about since the moment he met her. One morning, he handed her a carefully wrapped box. "What's this?" Emma asked, eyebrows raised. "Something. For tonight," Langston said with a grin. "Wear it, I'm taking you somewhere." She opened it slowly. Inside was an elegant flowing black dress with subtle gold beading along the neckline. It shimmered in the light. "Sandro, this is too much," she said softly, fingers running across the fabric. "No," he said. "It's exactly enough." That evening, the moment Emma stepped down the stairs of their new home wearing the dress, Langston's breath caught in his throat. She was stunning. Her frame, graceful and strong, glowed under the warm lights of the foyer. Her natural curls framed her face. Her smile was soft but radiant. "You look incredible," he said, eyes locked on hers. Emma smiled shyly. "Thank you. But where are we going?" "You'll see." He led her to the car, the twins all ready, with a sitter, and the boys told they'd be picked up later. As the car moved through the city lights, Emma looked out the window, nervous but curious. They pulled up to a private venue on the outskirts of the city. The building was modern, clean-lined, and elegant but understated. The kind of place that whispered wealth rather than shouted it. Langston helped her out of the car and walked her up the steps. When they stepped inside, Emma gasped. Soft, golden lighting filled the room. Floating candles in glass bowls lit the walkway. The walls were lined with roses, deep crimson her favorite. In the center, a beautifully set table for two stood under a chandelier of hanging crystals. 3 waiters stood silently at the far side of the room, and a violinist played a slow, soulful melody in the background. Emma covered her mouth with one hand. "You did all this?" Langston nodded proudly. "I told you. I'd do anything for you." She turned slowly, taking in every detail, her heart full. "This looks like something out of a dream. I want you to feel how much I love you," he said gently. "Every day." They sat and shared a meal prepared by a private chef. Grilled salmon, buttered asparagus, garlic mashed potatoes, and a dessert of chocolate mousse with fresh berries. After dinner, Langston stood and offered his hand. "Can I have this dance?" Emma laughed nervously but placed her hand in his. "You plan to dance too?" He pulled her in slowly as the violin shifted into a slow jazz rhythm. "Thank you for letting me meet your boys," he whispered as they swayed. "If it weren't for them, I wouldn't have found you. They were the bridge that led me to the woman I love." Emma leaned her head against his chest. "Thank you for coming into our lives. You gave us something we hadn't had in a long time. Peace." Then, just as the music reached its final soft note, Langston stepped back and got down on one knee. Emma froze. He pulled out a velvet box and opened it to reveal a diamond ring that glistened like the stars above. "Emma Solon Hayes," he said, voice steady but full of emotion. "Will you marry me?" Tears filled Emma's eyes. She wasn't just shocked by the proposal, but by the people now quietly stepping into the room. Her heart caught in her throat. Malik, Josiah, the twins, Langston's secretary, his loyal staff from day one, and then his parents, Lionel Duke, and his wife stood near the back, watching silently. Emma looked at them in disbelief. "They're here?" she whispered. Langston nodded. "They came by a few days ago. Said they wanted to see how we were doing. I didn't tell you. I wanted it to be a surprise." Tears streamed down Emma's cheeks. Malik called out from the group. "Say yes, Mom. Please say yes." Emma turned to Langston. His eyes never left hers. "So," he said gently, "will you marry me?" Emma nodded, barely able to speak. "Yes, I will." Cheers erupted. Josiah jumped up and down. The twins squealed into light and Langston's mother wiped away a tear. Langston slid the ring onto her finger, stood, and pulled her into an embrace. The room sparkled with laughter, light, and the quiet miracle of love. The wedding preparations began almost immediately. It felt surreal for Emma, shopping for a wedding dress, reviewing invitations, standing in front of mirrors and seeing herself not as a struggling mother, but as a bride. A radiant bride. The boys were just as excited. "Congratulations, Mom," Malik said one morning, beaming as he watched her try on a flowing ivory gown. Josiah clapped beside him. "We're finally going to be a real family." Emma smiled and pulled them both into a hug, pinching their cheeks softly. "You two are my heart. You're the reason I'm even standing here today. I love you both so much." "We love you too, Mommy," they replied in unison, hugging her back. Just then, the dressing room door creaked open. Langston's parents, Lionel, and Celeste Duke, stepped inside, dressed in modest yet elegant clothes, no longer carrying the coldness they once did. "May we speak with you, Emma?" Celeste asked kindly. Emma straightened, heart suddenly anxious. "Of course, ma'am." They all sat on the velvet sofa as the boys left the room to wait outside. Celeste reached for Emma's hand. "Thank you for loving our son." Emma blinked, surprised. "We were so caught up in the image of success," Celeste continued, "in business, in reputation, in control, that we forgot to see what our son truly needed. He needed a family, love, a woman who would love him not for his money, but for who he is." Lionel cleared his throat, his voice softer than it had ever been. "Emma, I judged you. I looked down on you. I was wrong, and I'm sorry." Emma was already crying. She covered her face, but Celeste gently pulled her hands away. "Don't thank us," she said, smiling. "We're the ones thanking you. You've given Langston more joy than we ever could." Emma could only nod through her tears. The wedding day arrived like a dream. The sun hung warm and golden in a clear sky. The venue was decorated in soft golds and creams, accented with dark red roses. Every chair was filled. Their community had come to celebrate, not just a wedding, but a resurrection. A family, reborn. "Do you, Emma Solon Hayes, take Langston Duke to be your lawfully wedded husband?" Emma's voice was firm, full of quiet pride. "Yes, I do." "And do you, Langston Duke, take Emma, along with all her heart and her children, to be your lawfully wedded wife?" Langston beamed. "With all that I am, I do." The crowd erupted as they sealed it with a kiss, warm, slow, and full of promise. Days later, Langston stood in the new home he had built for them, spacious, filled with light, and filled even more with laughter. The twins toddled around the living room. Josiah practiced piano in the corner. Malik sat with Langston going over schoolwork. Langston walked to the balcony looking for Emma. "Wife, where are you?" he called. "I'm out here," she replied from the balcony, wrapped in a soft robe, looking out over the garden. He walked up and wrapped his arms around her waist from behind, holding her close. "Are you happy?" he asked softly. Emma leaned back into him. "Of course I'm happy, Sandro. Why would you even ask?" "Because," he said, kissing the top of her head, "I need to hear it. Every day." She turned to him. "You gave us everything we never thought we'd have again. Love, stability, a home." Langston smiled. "And you gave me everything I never knew I was missing. Purpose, joy, family." They looked out into the peaceful night, stars twinkling above their mansion. "I still can't believe it," Emma whispered. "You only heard them singing, and somehow that changed everything." Langston kissed her forehead. "That moment," he whispered, "was the beginning of everything." Time passed like a gentle breeze, and their new life blossomed with warmth, laughter, and gratitude. Langston and Emma's home wasn't just a mansion. It was a sanctuary, a space filled with second chances and soft-spoken miracles. Emma, once, weighed down by hardship, now moved with a lightness that came only from deep healing. But the biggest blessings arrived in pairs. Twins, a boy and a girl, Alexa and Zaire. Ready, kids? Langston asked one sunny afternoon, clapping his hands as they stood outside the SUV, surrounded by boxes of care packages. Yes, Papa, came the cheerful reply in unison. Malik, Josiah, Alexa, and Zaire all beaming with pride. They were at the local market, the same neighborhood where Emma once collapsed from hunger and exhaustion, but today they had come not to ask, but to give. This was Malik's idea. I want to give back, Papa, he had said one night. We came from nothing. Now that we have more than enough, it's our turn to help. Langston had no objections, only pride. They moved through the crowd handing out food, water, warm meals, and hygiene kits. Thank you. God bless y'all. Voices rang out as the family made their way through the market. Langston handed Malik a microphone. Go on, son. This moment belongs to you. Malik blinked. Why me? You started this, Langston said. Speak, your truth. Malik stepped forward, heart pounding but voice clear. Good afternoon, everyone. We're here because we want to share what we've been given. He glanced back at his siblings, then at Langston and Emma, who stood together, just behind the crowd. A few years ago, we were just like many of you. We had no food, no stable roof. My mom worked herself sick just to keep us alive. My brother and I sang on the streets to buy medicine. He swallowed hard, eyes beginning to glisten. But God heard us, and he sent someone who didn't just give us money but gave us a future. That man standing right there. He pointed to Langston. This may not be much, Malik continued, but we hope it helps, even a little. Keep fighting, keep believing, because your story isn't over. Applause broke out, soft at first, then stronger. People wiped away tears. Emma stood off to the side, her hand covering her mouth, unable to stop crying. Langston walked over and stood beside her. You raised him right, he said quietly. Emma leaned into him. No, Sandro. We raised him right. She looked at the crowd, at the strength and compassion on her children's faces, and felt her heart overflow. He had stepped in when they had no one. He had stayed when he had every reason to walk away. He had chosen them, not out of guilt, not out of pity, but out of love. And not once had he ever made them feel small for needing him. Over time, that love only grew stronger. Langston never treated Malik and Josiah as anything less than his own, and they never needed to ask for permission to call him Dad, because they already knew he was theirs, and they were his. In the years that followed, the Duke Hayes family became a symbol in the community, not of wealth but of grace, of what it looked like when love, resilience, and faith came together. They built a new life, a stronger family, and a legacy not of luxury, but of compassion. Because in the end, it wasn't a mansion or money that changed everything. It was the sound of two boys' voices on the street, and the one man who stopped to listen.